Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming and joining us for the learning of Torah Hashem. Be'ezras Hashem Yisbach. We are holding on Daf Nun Ches Amud Beis, and by 2 lines from the bottom, V'Rav Shravya. We are dedicated by Shalom Fogel, Lila Nishmas Yaakov Zeb Ben Yudahaya, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas Gad, Yosef Ben Sion Ben Yaakov Zev, L'Fu Shalema for Moshe Ayi Ben Yamin, for Great Shidduch for Chayat Tzivya Bas Shoshana Gittel. We're sponsored by Baruch Ian Lila Nishmas Yaakov Chaim Ben Abba Esther Bas Yona Avram Ben Shmuel HaKoyin, L'Fu Shalema for Liba Bas Anya. We're sponsored by A.B. Spry. We're sponsored for the physical, emotional, and spiritual protection for Yeshua Menachem Mendel Ben Bela Shendel Rivka. We are sponsored by Mark Frankel for his father, Yisrael Tzvi Ben Chaim Yeshua Falek. And we are sponsored by Berish Gesem and L'Fu Shalema for Shoshana Basadina Chana. We are holding, as I said,
Mordechai Tzvi Ben Rus Chana.
Mordechai Tzvi Ben Rus Chana, Baruch Atari, Elohim Melech Elam Shakol Niya B'dvaro.
Amen.
Does anybody know how Nachman Chapel is?
Not yet, no.
Zlata Bas Esther Perel.
Zlata Bas Esther Perel, Nachman Yaakov Ben Sarah. Okay, so, Nachman, you're back.
Back.
How you feeling?
Baruch Hashem. Had some complications with Parashat, but back home.
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. I was about to call you.
He's a tough guy, huh? He's very tough. Takes a lick and keeps on thinking. It's like
Now,
good spirit.
Rav Shavya Amar, Hamani Rabbi Yosef Glilihi. Who is this going like? It's going according to Rabbi Yosef Glili. Now here we have an interesting thing. The one pasuk implies that the kiyur should be positioned in between the oil mayed and the mizbeach. There's another pasuk that implies that there should not be nothing interposing between the mizbeach and the oil mayed. So it's a bit of a contradiction. One pasuk says that the kiyur is in between the two. Another pasuk says that there should be nothing interposing between the mizbeach and the oil mayed. So we're going to see how we reconcile these two psukim. So Rav Shravya Mahamani Rabbi Yosef Glili, the Tanya Rabbi Yosef Glili Aimer, mitoich shenema v'nosata es hakir bein oil mayed. You should put the kiyur between the oil mayed and the mizbeach. So we would think that the kiyur should be situated, sandwiched between the oil mayed and the mizbeach. But there's another pasuk. There's another pasuk that says, "Es mizbach ha'oila," the mizbeach ha'oila should be Pesach oil mayed, which implies that it should be right in front of the door of the oil mayed with nothing interposing. V'lo kiyur b'Pesach oil mayed. So says the Gemara, Heichen ha'yu noisnai. Where should we put it in order to reconcile the two psukim? Beino ulam v'la mizbeach, we put it in between the antechamber and the mizbeach, moshech kima klapei doran. But we should move it a little bit towards the south of the mizbeach, so that it technically it's in the area in between the mizbeach and the oil mayit, but it's not physically interposing between the Mizbeach and the Oyel Moed. In other words, it's on that line, but it's not physically interposing, but it's shifted over a little bit to the south of the Mizbeach, so that it doesn't actually interrupt between the Mizbeach and the Oyel Moed. So now, we're going to try to figure out where the Mizbeach is located. Remember, there's a shayla if the Mizbeach is in the southern part, if it's in the northern part, if it's in the middle. So the Gemara says, Micah Sover. What does Rabbi Yossi hold with the positioning of the Mizbeach? Ika Sover Kulei Mizbeach Badorim Koi. If he holds that the whole Mizbeach is in the south, now if the whole Mizbeach is in the southern part of the of the Azara, so if you look at diagram C, if you have the art scroll, if you look at diagram C, if the whole Mizbeach is shifted over to the south, then only 5 amas of the Mizbeach is in front of the Heichel, is in front of the door. So then, it's enough to bring over the kiyar, to shift it over 10 amas, in other words, to shift it over 5 amas over, so then it's in the area between the Mizbeach and the Heichel, but it's not interposing in between the Mizbeach and the Pesach Oyel Moed. As the Gemara says, Ika Savakuli Mizbeach B'darim Kai Nukma Mekaisil Heichel V'Ladarim. All you would have to do is put it to the south of the. You wouldn't have to put it to the south of the Mizbeach. Right? That was the lashon of Rabbi Yossi Aglili. You needed to put the south in the Mizbeach. You just have to push it over, away from the door of the Heichel south, that it should be 5 amas moved over, so that it's not interposing between the opening and the Mizbeach. So Nukmei Mikaisel Heichel V'Ledarm Bein Ulam LeMizbeach. And if you'll say that we also want to have that there should be nothing in between the door of the Ulam and the Mizbeach, because the Kedusha of the Heichel and the Ulam is one. So instead of moving it over 5 amas to the south, you'd move it over 10 amas to the south. All you have to do is push the kiyar over from the push the kiyar over instead of it being in front of the door of the ulam. You push it over another 5 amas, and it's in between the Mizbeach and the wall of the ulam, and all you have to do is push it 10 amas to the south. But you don't need to put it to the south of the Mizbeach. Now, let's say he holds that the Mizbeach is half and half. Inami kesavar chetzia batzafan v'chetzia badar. If he holds that half of the Mizbeach is in the north and half of the Mizbeach is in the south, that's diagram D, right? Excuse me, diagram E. Diagram E has half of the Mizbeach in the north and half of the Mizbeach in the south, right? So then again, you have the southern part of the Mizbeach is 16 amas. Of those 16 amas, only 5 amas are flush against the Pesach of the Heichel. So you'd have to move it over 5 amas, and and put the kier 11 amas from the southern corner. And if you say that the kedusha of the ulam is like the kedusha of the heichel, so then you'd want to move it over another 5 amas, because then you don't want the kier intervening between the opening of the ulam and the mizbeach. So then you push it over 10 amas, so that's 10 of the 16, and it would be, the kier would be in the 6 amas at the end of the mizbeach. And that's what the Gemara says. Inami kisav v'chetzi b'tzafim v'chetzi b'darim, nukmei mekaisel heichel u'ledarim, then make it from the kaisel heichel and to the south, bein ulam mizbeach, pushing it off of the southern 16 amas, pushing it away 5 amas away from the opening of the heichel on the southern side, and you could put the kier from 11 amas from the corner. And v'inami kesaver kedushas ulam b'heichel chada, and even if you hold the kedusha of the ulam and the heichel is one, so you don't want the kier to be in the area between the opening of the ulam and the mizbeach, so then you'll move it over another 5 amas, and it'll be in the last 6 amas of the southern corner. V'inami kesaver kedushas ulam b'heichel chada, nukmei mekaisel ulam v'ledarim, put it from the kaisel ulam and to the south, away from the opening of the ulam, bein ulam lamizbeach, in the last 6 amas of the southern part of the altar. Elalav, the fact that Rabbi Yossi Aglili said that you're putting it south of the mizbeach, Elalav, here's a source that Rabbi Yossi Aglili says that the mizbeach is completely in the north. Elalav, Mishim de Kasavar, it's because Elalav, and we just got the 30th Zuma here as we're schmoozing. Elalav, Mishim de Kasavar, what? What did you say, Aglai?
No, it's okay.
Elalav, Mishum de Kasavar Kulei Mizbeach Batzaf. The whole Mizbeach is pushed over to the north. If the whole Mizbeach is pushed over to the north, you look at diagram G, where the whole Mizbeach is pushed over to the north. So you can't put the kier in the area opposite the Mizbeach and the opening of the door. So therefore, you move it over south of the Mizbeach. Because south of the Mizbeach, it's in an area in between the Mizbeach and the Oyel Mayit, but it's not intervening between the opening and the altar. So it's very good that he says that you push it to the south of the Mizbeach. Elab, Bisham de Kesavar Kulei Mizbeach B'tzafin. But that's an interesting question. Why does he say put the kier to the south? Why doesn't he say put the kier all the way up to the north? Says the Gemara, v'nukmei bein mizbeach v'laheichel batzafim. And even if you'll say kasavar kedushas heichel v'ulam chadi, so you can't put it to the north after the opening of the heichel, because still you don't want to put it in the area of the opening of the ulam, but push it more to the north. After you clear the opening of the ulam, in the area between the mizbeach and the wall of the ulam. Says the Gemara, even if you put it from the wall of the heichel into the north, it's between the ulam and the mizbeach. So the Gemara says, don't put it to the north where it faces the opening of the ulam. V'nukma mekaisel ulam v'latzafen. Put it more to the north, after the opening of the ulam, all the way up to the north, where it's in between the wall of the altar and the wall of the ulam. V'nukma mekaisel ulam v'latzafen bebein ulam v'laz mizbeach, where it doesn't intervene both the opening of the heichel and the opening of the ulam. So now the Gemara pulls out a new drasha. Amakrat tzafona. The pasuk says tzafona, that only it is in the north. Sheyehei tzafon pani mekalim. The whole north should be free of vessels, and therefore we don't put the kiyur in the north. That's why we move it to the south, a little bit south of the mizbeach. Says the Gemara. So Rabbi Yossi holds that the whole mizbeach is in the tzafon. Mantana de Poligoleder Rabbi Yossi Glili says, who argues on Rabbi Yossi Glili? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov here. It's Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. The Tanya Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Aimer tzafona in the north. She ate tzafon pani mekalim, that the north should be free of all vessels, even the mizbeach. And that's why he holds the mizbeach is bedarim. Now we talk a new topic, a much easier topic.
Can I ask something before we start that new topic? One was just on this diagram. If the mizbeach is all the way up to north, where do they shecht north of the mizbeach? It's against the wall, according to this diagram, unless there's more space.
Well, first of all, if you remember, it's not clear whether you only have the panel flush opposite the mizbeach. There is an opinion that the north is north on the entire azara in the area of opposite the mizbeach.
So there's more room?
There's room on under and room over.
Over? Meaning more?
No, it's north is not north only parallel the wall of the mizbeach. It's higher in that area and lower in that area. We had a three-way machloikis of what north is.
Okay.
Also, it doesn't have to be pushed over all the way. There's still area that you could push it up.
I was just going on the diagram. It seems to be up against the further northern part.
Yeah, but that's not a true. It's not true.
What do you think about the idea, Rabbi, about what the purpose of the kiyur is versus the purpose of the mizbeach? One holds things that have gone through sin, or represent the elevation of sin. One cleanses the tahor, so they're definitely opposites, aren't they? I mean, just in terms of they're
not opposites at all.
Okay, they're not.
The mizbeach cleanses us from sin too.
But it's done through multiple mechanisms. In this case, it's a dichotomy of different things.
It's not a dichotomy. It's the same idea. They're both for cleansing.
They both do cleanse, yes.
Now, Amarav, mizbeach shenifkan. If the mizbeach was chipped, the mizbeach has to be shalom. It has to be whole. If the mizbeach was chipped, then kolat kachim shenishchetu sham, all kachim that was slaughtered by that mizbeach are psulin. Even if they found out afterwards, this mizbeach was no good, all of the kachim that were slaughtered are disqualified. However, Rav says, mikrahu b'yodenu, we had a source from a pasuk, but ushechachnuhu, but we forgot it. Kisalek Rav Kahana, when Rav Kahana went up, Ashkechei Reb Shimon bar Rebbe Dekama Mishim Rebbe Shmuel Rebbe Yossi, he found Reb Shimon bar Rebbe teaching in the name of Rebbe Shmuel bar Rebbe Yossi. Minayin l'mizbeach shenifkam shekol hakachim shenishchetu sham psulim. How do we know that if the mizbeach was chipped, that all kachim that are slaughtered there are apostle? Shenema v'zavachta olav esoyloisecha v'eshlamecha. You should slaughter upon it your oila and your shlam. Now the ma'isa is the preferable place to shech is on the side of the mizbeach, not on the mizbeach. So what do you mean v'zavachta olav? V'chi olav ata zaveach? Do we slaughter on top of the mizbeach? We slaughter on the side. Al yerach ha-mizbeach. Elikishu shalem, it means you should shech only when the Mizbech is whole, v'loy kishu chaser, but not when it's deficient. Amar, so Rav Kahana says, Hainu kra di ishtamet leil Rav. This was the pasuk that evaded Rav. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Echad zeh ve'echad zeh psulin. Whether an animal that was shechted by the altar when it was chipped, or an animal that was dedicated, but the Mizbeach got chipped, and therefore it became nitcha, it became rejected, it's also possible. Rabbi Yochanan Amar echad zeh ve'echad zeh psulin. B'may kamiflagi, Rav Savar Bali Chayim einon nidachim. Live animals can't be rejected. So if you dedicate it and the base and the Mizbeach got chipped, it's not going to be disqualified. Just have to wait until it's repaired. Rabbi Yochanan Savar Bali Chayim nidachim. Live animals could be rejected. So if the Mizbeach got chipped, so it's rejected because now you cannot bring it. Meisvei, kol hakochim shehoyu ad sheloi nivnei Mizbeach, all kochim that were before the Beis Hamikdash were rebuilt, v'achar kach nivnei Mizbeach, and then the Mizbeach was built, psulin. So you see that Balei Chayim are rejected. Because it says if you dedicated it before the Beis Hamikdash was rebuilt, and then you rebuilt the Beis Hamikdash, it's possible. So you see that if it's alive, it's rejected. Says the Gemara, Nivneh. You mean if it was dedicated before it was built? That's another problem. Because that means Dichui Meikara. Most opinions are that something has to be first roi fit, and only then can it be rejected. But if it was dedicated before it was built, then it was dochi meikara. That's very difficult to say that, because that's a big shaila. Nivne dechuya meikara nino. Ella, it means if it was dedicated ad sheloi neras hamizbech. In other words, it was dedicated by the first Beis Hamikdash. So then it was Nira. And then the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. Right? So then it's Nitcha. So that's a raya, since we say that it's possible, that Balei Chayim Nidachim. Says the Gemara, Neras. It was dedicated by the first temple and then it was destroyed. And now you're questioning if you could bring it by the second temple. The second temple is 70 years later. Kates Bavel, Zeru, Bavel, the Kate Shivim, Noisha, I think 70 years. 70 years, it's old. That's definitely a mum. That's a blemish. Neres, ho iskanlu. It became old. Ella, ad sheloi nifkema mizbeach. It was dedicated before it was chipped. V'achakach nifkema mizbeach, psulin. So that's a raya, like the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan that Balei Chayim nidachim, that although it's alive, it can be rejected, and that contradicts Rav. Says the Gemara, "V'lav terutze kametatzis." Didn't we have to do all kinds of somersaults to amend this brisa? According to Rav, we'll amend it. Ema shenishchetu. If it was slaughtered when the mizbeach was chipped, then it's no good, and it's just teaching us the halacha that we learned from the pasuk. Says the Gemara, I v'amar Rav Gidol amar Rav. Rav Gidol says in the name of Rav, Mizbeach shenekar, the Mizbeach that's uprooted. No, let's say the Mizbeach Hazav was not in its place. Maktirin ketoris b'mekaymai. You could be maktir ketoris in its place on the floor. So you see over here that it's good even if the Mizbeach Hazav is not there at all. It should surely be there if it's chipped. Says the Gemara, no problem. Kida Amar Rava, Maida Haya Reb Yehuda b'damim. By blood, it's only good if it's done on the Mizbeach itself. Hachanami Maida Rav b'damim. Although Rav agrees that the Ketores can be put on the ground where the altar stood, But the blood has to be put on the Mizbeach itself, and if the Mizbeach is chipped, it's no good. Now, let's get the din of Rabbi Yehuda. My Rabbi Yehuda, the Tanya, by Yoimahu, on that day, Kidash Hamelech Toicha Chotzer. It says that at the time that Shlomo HaMelech did the inauguration of the temple, he did the Chanukah Sabayis, he offered 142,000 korbanos. 22,000 oxen and 120,000 lambs. 142,000 korbanos. In order to accommodate burning all of those korbanos, he was mekadesh the land of the temple courtyard. Vayomahu kidesh hamelech es toiche chotzer, the interior of the courtyard. Ki mizbeach hanechoshes asher lifnei Hashem, because the mizbeach that was before Hashem katan mehakel, was too small to be able to contain it. So dvarim kichsav on divrei Rabbi Yehuda. This should be understood the way it's written, that he took a sacrifice on the floor. Amalei Rabbi Yaisi said to him, why was it too small? V'aloi kfar nemar elef oilos yalish shloima al mizbeach hahu. On the mizbeach of Moshe, Shlomo HaMelech offered 1,000 oilos. Now the mizbeach of Moshe was 5 by 5 amas. And of that, you had 2 of the 5 amas were the chronos, and you had 2 amas for the walkway. So the actual area of the pyre was an amma by an amma. Now, if you could fit on an amma by an amma 1,000 korbanos, so then by Shlomo HaMelech's Mizbeach, the pyre was 20 by 20, which is 400 square amas. 20 by 20 is 400 square amas. So if you could put by one amma 1,000 amas, 1,000 korbanos, then on 400 square amas you could put 400,000 korbanos. So Rabbi Yaisi maintained you didn't need to sanctify the area of the courtyard. V'aloi kvar nemer elef oilos yalish shlomo al mizbeach hahu. V'ilu bebeis olamim ha'oimer v'yizbech shlomo ez zevach ha'shlomim ha'shav zavach l'Hashem bakar esrim u'shnayim elef, 22,000, and 120,000 lamb, that's 142,000. But ukishata magia l'cheshbin oilos ulaminyan amas, when you calculate that Moshe Rabbeinu's was only an amma by an amma and he could do 1,000, then Zeh Gadol Mizeh, then Shlomo HaMelech, which had an area of 20 by 20, which is 400 square ammas, it could fit 400,000. You don't need to be Mekadesh, the surface area of the Azara. Elamau cotton mehachil. What does it mean that it was small from containing? It meant that they took the Mizbeach of Moshe Rabbeinu out of service. But they wanted to say it in a nice way. So, Ka'adam ha'omer l'chaveirei ploini nanasu. Now, a midget is not allowed to do the Avodah. But it just says that he's a midget and therefore apostle Avodah. So, the Mizbeach of Moshe was taken out of service, but it says that it was too small for being able to contain it. Says the Gemara of Rabbi Yehuda, Shaper Kama Rabbi Yaisi. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda had a different computation. Mizbeach of Moshe. Because Rabbi Yehuda Tamei, the Amar Mizbeach she'asa Moshe Gadol Haya, was bigger, because he didn't learn it was 5 by 5. Rather, he learned that there were 4 quadrants that were 5 by 5. And really, the Mizbeach was 10 by 10. And therefore, when you deduct the kronos and the walkway, there was an area of the pyre which was 6 by 6. 6 by 6 is 36 square amas. Now, if you could fit 1,036 square amas, then in 400 that's about 11th of 400. So then you would be able to fit 11,000, but not 142,000. And therefore, that's why they had to be mekadosh the surface area of the Azara. Rabbi Yehuda l'tamei dama mizbeach sha'isa Moshe gadol haya. The Tanya chamish amas oirech v'chamish amas reichev. So according to Rabbi Yossi, devarim kichsavan. It's 5 by 5. Divrei Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda menema kan ravua. It says squared. Menema lahalon ravua. Ma lahalon we measure me empty from the middle. So it means 5 amas in each direction. Hayamaydet. Afkan me empty also hayamaydet. So it would be 10 by 10 amas. Now if it's 10 by 10 amas, as I explained, when you deduct the area of the horns and the area of the walkway, so out of 10, you're left with 6. So the pyre was 6 times 6 is 36,000. Says the Gemara of Ahasam Minalan. How do we know over there that it was squared? Zichsiv Ariel. Ariel is the fire of God. The Mizbeach. Shtayim Esrei Ama Lekol Ruach. It's 12 amas to each direction. O Eina Ela Yud Beis al Yud Beis, 12 by 12. Kishu Aimer El Arba'a Revav, to the 4 quadrants. Malamed Shema Emtzahu Maidei. Says the Gemara of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says that when we make this Gezerah Shava of Ravua, Rabbi Yossi Ki Gamar Gezerah Shava Begoivahu de Gamar. We're talking about the height of the Mizbeach. The Tanya v'shalosh amas kaimasai, it was 3 amas high. Dvaram kiksavam. That's literal. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. So he says, how could that be literal? Because Rabbi Yossi, menema kan ravua, menema lahalon ravua. It says here ravua and it says near ravua. Ma lahalon goivai pishnayim ka'archai. Its height was twice its length. Afkan pishnayim ka'archai. Its height is twice its length. Says the Gemara. And therefore, the height would be 10 amas, because the length is 5, so the height would be 10. Amalei Rabbi Yehuda, v'aloi kvar nemar, v'esachotzer meya ama, the courtyard was 100 amas, the kaima, and the height of the enclosure was 5 amas. If the height of the Mizbeach is 10 amas and the enclosure is only 5 amas, then there would be no privacy. After Kayin Oimed al Gabei Mizbeach, he would be standing on a Mizbeach, va'avoida biyadai, and his temple service is in his hand. V'kol ha'amrayin ha'yisayim b'chutz. Everybody, if the height is 10 amas and the Kayin is standing on top and doing the avoida and burning the sacrificial pieces, could it be that there's no privacy rendered by the enclosure? Amalei Rabbi Yossi says you're right. The enclosure was more than 5 amas. V'aloi kvar nema v'eskalei ha'chotzer, the curtains of the chotzer, v'esmosach shar ha'chotzer, and the screen by the gate of the chotzer, asher al mishkan v'al mizbeach. Ma mishkan yud amas, it's 10 amas. Af mizbeach yud amas, so also the altar is 10 amas. V'omer kloim, and the curtains chamesh esrei amas, were 15 amas. Alakosef, by one shoulder, by one side. But which one is it? Is it 15 or is it 5? Says the Gemara, Ma Talmud Loimer, hey amas. What does it mean, 5 amas? Misvas mizbeach ulamala. It means from the edge of the mizbeach and above, it's 5 amas. It's 15 amas, but from the edge of the mizbeach and above, it's 5 amas. The 10 amas, the 15 amas, then would give us privacy, even if the kohen is standing on the mizbeach and doing the avodah. Okay, Rabbi said we'll stop over here. We're going to do the chumash here now, and just give me a second to set up over here.